as I was just mentioning, yeah, we're not short on words.
No, we're not. And we've been doing this since 1995, so
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it's
we can finish each other's sentences.
yes, we can,
Yes.
and we do.
And we do. Okay.
One of the things that what did I want to talk about?
Let's see. We were at the crematorium. We were at the embalming. That's terrible, Michael. Can't you remember?
I know what it was.
What?
By January of this year, we had already had 9 months of experience worldwide with the pandemic. So we were essentially just beginning to experience problems in Southern California, and had been a lull, and before the lull there was absolute trauma and drama in New York.
Yes, and Washington, the state of Washington.
And other places throughout the country. And if you'll remember, we didn't experience the same thing at the same time.
No, we didn't.
And so that's where I wanted to, kind of talk about the
Yes.
fact that even with having horrific situations in New York and Washington where they were trying to figure out how to manage the volume of people dying, especially the volume of people dying, because the volume of people getting sick and needing ICU care and things of that was high.
Yes.
And so here we are, December of this past year, just starting to get vaccinated and having basically what we're calling the surge.
Yes. Well,
here in Southern California.
We got closed down again.
And our experience with the volume, that I don't know if the volume was similar, but it felt similar to what New York was going through. And New York was in a different space by that point.
Yeah, they were. We were asking for the physicians that we had sent to New York to help to come back to Southern California, and the traveling nurses and respiratory therapists.
And the problem that came from our last conversation with respect to Richard and how he died right before everything locked down.
Yeah.
One of the things that I said is that had it happened 2 weeks later, you might not have been able to say goodbye.
No, exactly.
And that is the piece that
I wouldn't have been allowed.
You wouldn't
in
have
the
been.
hospital.
You would have been called and said he died.
He died. One of the things I was very aware of and very grateful for, because I had already made arrangements with the social worker, case manager, and the palliative care doctor, is that had there been any inkling that we were going to be shut down when he was going through the process, I would have brought him home.
Right.
I knew enough that
of course.
that I had the choice, and I would have taken that choice. At that time, Michael, there were still plenty of home health options for me at that point.
Yeah.
And he and I had discussed, I mean, we were married 56 years, so the discussions were long, involved. We both knew exactly what the other wanted, and we were very clear. But under the circumstances that I would have found myself in 2 weeks later, I would have gotten him out of there.
Yeah. And we talked about hospice and hospice at home and how all that would look. And it was certainly something. A
few months later, just trying to get a home health agency, trying to get.
Well, one of the things that happened, and this happened all over the place, was they began to charge a premium from an agency, so that you were no longer paying $20 an hour, you're paying $30 or more. And if you were COVID positive, the price was $50 to $60 bucks an hour for caregiving. And so the challenges were extremely high. You had to have all the personal protective equipment in the home with the fact that you're dealing with people who are not necessarily skilled beyond being a caregiver.
Yes, and 30 days later, oxygen became a problem, particularly in Southern California. there was none.
Right.
You couldn't get a tank
Right.
delivered to your
And-
home
and-
because they barely had
Right.
enough in the hospital.
And the concentrators were only being used for people who were on continuous oxygen. So you were not able to get an oxygen generator, to be in the home,
Yeah.
to provide you that support,
Right.
unless you needed continuous oxygen, and then they would get it to you. The volume was cranked up on everything, and we're still, I think we're still feeling the effects of all of that because it was exhausting. We had so many deaths in such a short period of time that I think that mortuaries are still trying to catch up.
Well, and the trauma for the mortuary, Michael, the trauma for the hospital staff, all the support groups that are involved with American healthcare, they're all in crisis.
Yeah. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's awful, and the sad part is that I think that we had some warning, and we had some shared experience nationally that we should have tapped into. Or I think that denial is certainly not just a river in Egypt.
No.
It's something that we are constantly confronting personally and nationally in terms of our experience with what we should expect.
Yeah.
It's
Well, even for me, Michael, I intellectually I'm very well informed on this process. What happens? I've been doing it long enough. Emotionally becomes a whole nother problem.
Yeah.
And that's where we start making mistakes, and that's where we delay too long in either obtaining information or making good decisions. And I'm like everyone else. The emotional piece of me for my husband was devastating, and I understood at that point why there is such denial in so many different areas.
One of the things that I frequently heard from families in going through this process that would say, my husband, wife, mother, father didn't have COVID, but they died from it.
Yeah.
They died from the neglect of themselves.
Yeah.
They died from
The loneliness.
the loneliness of the lockdowns. They died from just giving up. And so there's a certain amount of death that we automatically experience in the United States and in the communities that we live in that is going to occur. And so adding another layer that is impacting every other layer is hard. Because I can't tell you how many families have said to me, COVID is the reason that my parent died or my family member.
Indirectly.
Not, they weren't positive. They weren't sick from that illness.
No, Michael, they were sick from the loneliness and the isolation and not being able to see family members.
And I think I'm a firm believer as to why we're seeing kind of a little bit of an uptick in people dying now is that people are dying from having not been paying attention to their illness or their own medical condition.
They don't care.
Well,
that's the issue, Michael. They really do not care.
Yeah, I am.
They see no hope.
No, and I think that the longer that we continue to do this, the more we're going to see it. So we're seeing seniors who are coming in who are ready.
Well, we've got
to die.
We've got that group. We've got the suicide group, and we've got the violence. All three are directly related to the pandemic.
Oh, I agree.
And there's no way any longer to separate them.
No.
They're all a product of the same thing. Even if you're not in a facility and you're young and healthy, the changes that we have gone through in our society are driving behaviors that we've never seen in such mass counts.
Right. One of the, and I can tell you that this is it's a truthful statement. What we have experienced as a society is a mass casualty event.
Yes.
You know, when we talk about a mass casualty event, we're talking about, you know, an earthquake, you know, a typhoon, you know, some massive
9/11.
massive loss of life.
Yes.
That is what we've just been
That-
through,
that
and we're
affects-
still in it.
Yeah, we are.
That's the piece that people don't always understand, is that things have calmed down, but for those of us who went through it intimately, we're still impacted by it. I still have to wear the protective equipment in the hospital in order to keep my job. We most of us are vaccinated, but we're still dealing with people who are unvaccinated, who have not yet gone through that process. And so it's a difficult time to be working in healthcare today, because there's so many layers to it. It's you know, our personal lives are impacted greatly because of the work that we do. And we're watching, it's almost like a slow motion train
It's
wreck.
a train wreck, exactly,
You know,
Michael. It's a train wreck. Yes.
Yeah. I think
I
that
think
says it.
we yeah.